Okay. Good time. All right. Good morning, Facebook world. We're going to get started here in just about 10 seconds. So please hold tight. My special guest is Ian Buchanan from Dress for Life, but also Foundation of Art. Is it arts or art?
Arts.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM and happy Kwanzaa. Today, you're getting a live version of the Kwanzaa message. Today's principal, day 6, is Kuumba, which means creativity. And my special guest is Mr. Ian Buchanan. So, thank you for joining me. How are you doing, Mr. Ian?
I am great. I apologize for the setting. Creatives are always on the go, so
Yes,
had to make
sir.
a couple of trips this morning. So here we are, though.
Most definitely. So for Kwanzaa 2020, the theme is for the culture, bridging the generational gap. And so the message for today is a beautiful remnant when it comes
Mhm.
to creativity. Creativity is more than just beautiful pictures, paintings, movies, art, whatever. There's always a message and a meaning behind all of it when it comes to our people. And we're trying to let what was continues on for the generations to come. Real quick, I want to just tell you all what Kuumba means. To
Mhm.
do always as much as we can in the ways we can in order to leave our community more beautiful. So whatever gifts and talents you have, do your part to leave a beautiful remnant in your area. I want to say good morning to Derek Coleman. Thank you for checking in. So I'm going to let Ian take it away since this is um, I asked him to do this topic. So I want him to express what creativity means to him and relate that to the foundational arts and how we can help bridge the generational gap.
Okay, for me, creativity and kaumba just means that you do what you can with the gifts and the talents that you have been given and the creativity that you have been given to leave a mark or to leave a lasting impression for the better. A lot of times we want to just pull and pull and pull and draw away from our communities and get the resources in our communities, but we never look for opportunities in which we can give back or
Hmm.
opportunities in which we can make things better. It's no secret for anybody who's alive and breathing that 2020 has been one of the most difficult years in a life history that I have ever experienced in my almost 38 years. We've had here in Jonesboro, we've experienced the effects of the global pandemic. We've also experienced a major tornado, actually two major tornadoes this year that they hit our area, and that caused a lot of loss, a lot of suffering, a lot of discontent. A lot of shifting in the schedules. I know working for the Foundation of Arts, we're known for producing a show, a big major musical or play or production once a month. We didn't
Hmm.
do that for the months from March all the way until really September.
Wow.
So that avenue of creativity had to be channeled elsewhere. So we're talking about the remnant, and I had a hashtag creativity remains. How do you thrive and how do you become creative in a time when you're closed in and you're quarantined and you're separate from others? Because a lot of creativity has to do with coming together and creating and coming together and presenting. We had to get, for lack of better terminology, creative this year, virtually. We had to start doing things that we would normally do in groups. We had to do it over Zoom. I've been to several Zoom birthday parties and drive-through birthday parties and different things like that. That's what creativity and perseverance means to me. That's what Kaumba means to me. Because even though we can't do it in the traditional way, in the traditional sense, necessity is the mother of all invention. So when we needed those creative outlets, the people who are creative and who wanted to leave their community better saw fit to get together and say, hey, how can we still do this? And then even at the Foundation of Arts, we worked for about 2.5 months on a plan that got approved by the ADH and the CDC so that we can open back up and start putting out plays and productions. And we caught a lot of flack because people were like, why would you do that? And it's still this, this, and this. But we believe, and the slogan that we've adopted is that the arts heal. And it's so true. I just got the opportunity to be the first Black male director at the Foundation of Arts when I directed Dreamgirls, and I told my cast, we've been shouting Black Lives Matter, and they do. And but as important as a protest is getting together and creating art that is beautiful and putting yourself on those platforms and in those situations to where people will say, well, maybe they do have value. And for me, that's creativity and producing beautiful works and beautiful undeniable pieces of art is as important to our community as a protest or a march. So for me,
That's right.
that's what creativity is.
I love all the points that you made, and my mind has been racing. Well, I want to say first go to Christy Max's Conway, Conway, and Gwen Henderson checking from Arizona. She says yes, sir. I'm guessing in reference to some of the comments you're making. But I was thinking about even going all the way back to prehistoric times. You know,
Mhm.
we see history stories about cave drawings and hieroglyphics, and during the Egyptian time, all of those, how they translated their stories, and not always in words,
Mhm.
in pictures. And so over the time, over the centuries, some of that has become art, but there's also a story and a meaning and a heritage behind all of it. We can now study other cultures based on the remnants they left behind, whether it's pottery,
Absolutely.
whether it's actual paintings, whether it's buildings. We know in Rome, in other parts of Italy, they have beautiful architecture. Some of it is still standing from hundreds of years ago. So we as a people, as Black people especially, a rich history and a rich culture. We haven't even just tapped into it all.
Absolutely.
I know there's discussion about whether we're all from Africa, but those who have traced their roots and know where they're from, they know those parts of Africa have a very rich history and culture again. So and even the fabric, this is one thing I love. Like both of us are wearing some
Mhm.
type of African inspired print. There's even a history, a message
Mhm.
fabric, kente cloth alone. What Ian is wearing,
Absolutely.
it has a message. So, like, we just need to take a little time, do some research, and learn. Absorb all that we can.
And not only that, Quabila, what are we leaving as again, we talk about leaving a legacy and leaving our imprint. What art are we creating that years down the line and years later, people can look back and say in 2020, in a time when the world was in chaos, this emerged, this beautiful art or this story emerged.
Mhm.
We don't have to simply just rely on everything that's in the past. That's great, but we have a responsibility just as much as our ancestors
That's
did
right.
to teach the future generations. That's how you leave your community better than what you inherit. We inherited all of that heritage and all that richness, but what did we do with it? How did we
And
propel it forward? So we have a responsibility as creatives to sharpen. And I spoke with our youth ministry last night about gifts and talents. And so it's just funny or ironic that we would be having this conversation this morning because we didn't know that we were until last night. But one of the things that I told them is that every gift, you can use it in the kingdom, you can use it in your community, you can use it wherever. It's not just for you.
that's
Every
right.
creative gift that we have is for propelling forward both the kingdom of God and propelling forth our communities.
That's right. I want to say good morning to Jeremy Jones and Adrian Everett, who says that was in reference to girls. So there was a lot of great reviews on that. And I want to talk about, I want to kind of spin in. I usually do a
Mhm.
recorded Black History Month called Kwanzaa. So I'm going to just incorporate some of it today, right
Mhm.
now. And it's about Gordon Parks. And he was more than just a photographer. He took his photographs to tell a story. And he eventually became employed by Life magazine. Like that was a major accomplishment
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
time. He grew up in Southside Chicago. We all know stories of Chicago then and now. And so he took pictures of the life of the people, the impoverished people. However, he told the story in such a way that gained national attention and awareness. So that's the legacy he left for aspiring photographers, storytellers. He was also an author, a director. You know, his most notable work, some of his most notable works were The Learning Tree and Shaft. He scored,
Mhm.
he wrote, produced, directed, scored, Shaft. Like he did it all, you know.
Mhm.
I would advise everyone, if you can, watch The Learning Tree. It is an older movie. It is emotional, but it's worth it. I promise you, it's worth it. But so Gordon Parks is just one example of someone who he was also active during the civil rights movement. So he was able to take photographs and tell the people's story during that time as well. That's the legacy he left. He used his creativity of taking photographs to tell our story, to leave a legacy. So, like Ian said, what are we doing? You know, what are we leaving? And then how are we bridging? Talk about how to bridge the gap, because I feel like I'm in my 40s. You're
Mhm.
not far behind.
Not
And
for
then so
just
we
a
got
couple of
this
years.
group of
Uh-huh.
kids over here. It's like, what
I
are we
think
doing for these kids?
I think
Go ahead.
that we have a responsibility as parents, as uncles, as aunts, as grandparents, whatever our position is, TTs, whatever it is, godparents, to give our children avenues to where they can be creative. I was watching the what the it was Netflix had where Debbie Allen does the hot chocolate Nutcracker. And it just talked about the whole school that she has. And all you saw was multicultural, but predominantly African American ballerinas on point. We in our Jonesboro community have one African American ballerina that is on point, and she just got there, but she's
One.
worked her hind parts off to to become on point. And she actually was, for the first time ever, our lead ballerina in Nutcracker this year, Miss Lanaya Mitchell. Kudos to her. She's worked for years to get to this point, and she killed the role. Very excited for her. Very proud of her. But I think in order to bridge the gap, you have to give them access. If they can't afford to take classes, or if they can't afford to do this, then sponsor them. Do what you need to do, because maybe we can afford to help someone out. I am doing the Gentleman's Academy that's getting ready to launch in February. I put it out there on Christmas that I had like 3 to 5 scholarships. Over 30 young men reached out to me. I'm not going to turn any of them away, even if I have to absorb the costs myself. But for me, giving them avenues and giving them the education that they need to thrive, because we talk about it all the time. You Once you become a part of the arts, you open up new levels of yourself that you didn't even know that you had. And so what would happen if at 3 years old we take our daughter or and our son to a dance class and let them learn how to express
Okay.
themselves through ballet, or an art class and let them learn how to become the next Picasso, or photography class so they can become the next Gordon Parks. I mean, there's so many different avenues of creativity, but if we never give them the opportunity, that's how you bridge the gap. Is just simply giving them the opportunity, providing the
Yeah.
opportunity. At the Foundation of Arts, we have scholarships But if you we can't just pick them out of the street. If you come and apply, you can get those classes and get that training just the same as someone who's paying the full tuition price. But just giving them that opportunity, that's how you bridge the gap. Giving them opportunity, supporting them in their recitals and in their art shows and exhibits, and letting them know that this is as valuable as a football game or a basketball game
Hmm.
or a dance team, whatever it is. Support and offering the opportunity. That's how you bridge the gap, in my opinion.
All righty. So, and I just want to encourage everyone, use your own creative gifts and talents. Like, I know my ministry, and it's not singing, which I love, but I sing by myself. But
That's fine.
I can write,
Hmm.
um, I can talk. And so
Hmm.
I try to open those channels and introduce young people into this side of the game. You have a love of knowledge. Find a way to put that
Hmm.
knowledge to use. Start a blog, start a podcast. There's so many, like you said, so many avenues. But if we never talk to young people, if we never hold their hand and walk them through a process, we never show them what's possible, then they will never know.
Right,
And we could lose them to a system that's not going to send them on the right path.
right. And there's
And
no
we don't want to
reason. And
lose any of our people.
I say this really quickly because I know you probably have another question. There is absolutely no reason why any of our children can not be as excellent as anyone else's child. And you hit on a point too. Everyone has something. I used the analogy
Mm-hmm.
last night. A 500-piece puzzle is not complete without the 500th piece. You can have 499 pieces, but if you don't have piece number 500, then you don't have a complete puzzle. Everybody has a part to contribute, a part of the puzzle to add to their community. You have something in you that maybe you don't even know is a creative gift or talent, but you just like doing it and you don't know how that can be applied. Ask somebody. Say, hey, what am I good at? Hey, what do I need? I'm good at this. How can this be used? How can this be utilized? Because everyone has value. That's what I want everyone to know. You all have value. You all
Mm-hmm.
have a creative spark. So, if you have not seen that movie, please go and watch it. It is absolutely incredible. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a spark. Everyone has something that they can add value to their life.
You talking about the movie Soul, right?
Yes. Incredible movie.
The movie. I was just thinking about that part where looking at the little baby spirits, going around trying. They're getting their personalities, and they're
Mhm.
getting, they got this little badge on, and it's like, what's that one thing though that makes you contribute to the
Right.
world? And so,
Right.
yeah, that movie was really good.
Yeah.
And then there were
Creatively
parts
done.
that, and I don't want to give it away for someone who may want to watch it, but oh well. There was a part where the one little baby that was reluctant, didn't want to go.
Hmm.
They actually found the spark, but it was
Hmm.
not what they thought it was.
Right. Right.
So
It was something completely different,
yeah,
but it still had value and it still added. And that's what I love about the arts. Again, we said it in this one. You find parts of your personality and who you are that you didn't even know was there. It just opens you up, and you can find acceptance and you can find value. That's why the arts definitely heals and the arts are important.
yes. And this principle Kuumba ties into all of the others. So from the beginning, unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity. Tomorrow is about faith, which wraps it all up. It says, I believe in my people, my community, and I believe in us,
Hmm.
and all that we've been through. So I want people to reflect on these principles. You can practice Kwanzaa 24/7, 365.
You
It
should.
doesn't have to be just a week
Right.
long. I do want to state this: Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday. It's not in replacement of anything. It's about a set of principles that we can live our daily life by. So
Mm.
I want everyone to please read, study, get into it. Go ahead.
And one other thing, Cordelia, we have to look at the fact that we hold value in all arenas. I've heard a lot. We just did Dream Girls, and of course, we've done Raisin in the Sun and Aquila and the Bee, and a couple other things that we're getting ready to do. But what's stopping you from being in the Nutcracker? What's stopping you from auditioning for Footloose that we'll have later on? We're getting ready to do Lion King auditions in a month. What's stopping you from being a part of that? You can hold value and you can hold a position in anything that you want to. All you have to do is put forth the effort to audition and try. That's
That's
all
right.
you have to do. It's get out there and try. Is get out there and come to a class. Right now we have a new student offering. It's $35 to come and try out a class. That's just
Okay.
for a week to see. And we give you a free pair of ballet shoes to just
Oh wow.
come and try out. So you already have half of your uniform for class, and then you get to come and try out a class. I mean, we eat more than $35 a day if we go out to eat. If it's in the family, or we spend more than that on a pair of shoes, than you spend more on a pair of shoes than you do for 2 or 3 months of tuition for dance class
Hmm. Wow.
at the
Oh
athletic.
wow.
And that's something that can carry them farther. I'm watching On Point right now on Disney Plus, and it's about the ballet school in New York, and they pull people from all over the country and give them scholarships and give them opportunities to dance professionally. Why aren't some of our students in that? Why aren't some of our
Yeah,
children in it?
that's right. I
It's
want to read a
it's
few
about our focus.
comments real quick. Jeremy Jones says, Amen. Gwen Henderson, great conversation. Christy says, opportunity bridges the gap. That's good. That was t-shirt worthy. Good morning, Marlon Carter. He says, my buddy. Christy says, sometimes we minimize our gifts. When you minimize, you rob yourself of creative opportunities. And then she's educated, religious, directed. Yes, ma'am. And thank you again for joining. Thank you, everyone else for watching. To wrap it up, but I thank you. So 20 seconds, final word.
Don't
20
be afraid
seconds.
to try. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to do, and watch what you can create when you step out on faith.
All right. I want to thank everyone for supporting the Kwanzaa celebration this week. Stay tuned for another message from Ms. Emma Agnew. It was supposed to be in yesterday, technical difficulties, but life happened. So stay tuned for a message from Ms. Emma Agnew. And I hope everyone has a great and blessed day. Thank you, Ian, for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for
Thank
the
you, everyone,
opportunity.
for supporting Kelly Kay. Thank you so very much. Even on the go, he's still committed. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye
And everyone
bye.
have a great and blessed day. Alrighty, so let me stop the Facebook Live feed. Thank you everyone for tuning in and joining the conversation. I hope you are inspired to be creative on today. Happy Kwanzaa. Alrighty.